The banksters would use 9/11 and attempt to strip Americans of all their constitutional rights. There would be violent staged events to scare Americans into giving up the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. I already had more scenes than I needed for the movie, but connecting this next dot was a big one. The London Interbank Offered Rate. Libor gets its name from the City of London, and it has its base there, and so does every major bank in the world. Libor is the interest rate that participating banks offer to other banks for loans on the London market. There is $800 trillion in securities linked to Libor, including auto and home loans, even student loans. Now this gets really interesting. March 2011, regulators were focused on a few American banks, with subpoenas issued to 3 of those banks. 2 men were set to testify before the U.S. Senate for the case against the Libor abuse, implementing 16 international banks. These men were Peter Lanza and Robert Holmes. A year later, on July 20, 2012, there was a Colorado theater mass shooting, said to kill 12 people and injured 58. The shooter accused was James Holmes. Yes, the son of Robert Holmes, the scientist for credit score FICO, expert witness, scheduled to testify against Libor and the big banksters. Now, what are the odds of that? On December 14, 2012, a boy was accused of shooting 20 children and 6 adults. It was called the Sandy Hook Massacre, and the shooter's name was Andy Lanza, son of, yes, Peter Lanza, expert witness, tax director for GE Financial, who has a huge division in the home loan market. Wow, now that one really got to me. I just realized there were more horrific murders connected to Bernie Madoff's London Libor boys. I mean, these guys are really nasty. I mean, this whole London, Wall Street, Crown Empire was all connected. Where were our elected officials? Where was the media? October 4th, 2012, there were 2 U.S. senators that released a statement that there was a criminal investigation of the Secretary of Treasury, Tim Geithner, and Eric Holder for money laundering and racketeering, $43 trillion. The senators, they said they wanted America to regulate its own lending rate and not to use Libor. Sounded good, but only 21 days later, October 25, 2012, CNBC executive Kevin Krim ran the story online, CNBC News website. And a few hours later, his 2 young children were found violently murdered.